everyone, and a very warm welcome to DBF1. This is the season finale of Season 5. 3 drivers are mathematically in the running to become your Season 5 Drivers' Champion, who will join the likes of so many drivers, who will join the likes of Matter, EFL, Alistair, and so many more. I'm trying to read the drivers' names, but I can't read them that much. But who will join them? Will it be Waze? Will it be Dan Price? Or will it be Jordan? My name is Jess Ball. For the final time this season, I'll be your commentator throughout this evening. Quite a few permutations for this evening's races in order for people to be crowned champions. So these are your top 3 stats as it stands. So, for those of you that are wondering how many points people are on, so we've got Waze on at 246 points, Dan on 216, and Jordan on 190. And this is how it's going to go. I need to get it up on my screen so I can see it. So, there we go. Basically, Waze just needs 2 P3s and P4s and 2 P4s. If that happens, he's champion. But that's in quali anyway. Jordan needs 2 poles and 2 wins because the gap is more than like 60 points pretty much. And Daniel needs to outscore Waze by a few points in Brazil. And yeah, he basically needs to outscore Waze by quite a bit as well. So we will keep you up to date. Of course, I used AI a few rounds ago, and that was quite fun to work out. So we'll use AI again for this one. So the first track we are going to be racing at this evening is Interlagos. It is a driver favourite. It is a commentator favourite. Pretty much everybody loves this track because it can contain quite a bit of battles. It was used in Formula 1 quite some years ago, actually, 1975, and it was named the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, who won the track in that year, and then unfortunately was killed in a plane crash, so that's why it was renamed after that. So the circuit opened in May 1940. In 1985, that was when it was renamed. It started 1975, as I was saying, and there's been many tracks in Brazil, of course, but of course the layout that we know today is around about I'm just trying to find it, figure out the miles, 2.66 miles. It used to be well, I think it was still 2.66 miles. It was modified quite a lot in the 90s, 96, and then again in 1999. So we will have a look at a little bit of the track map just to give you a little bit of an idea of what our drivers are going to be facing here today, which should be good. Now, for some weird reason, I thought my game's crashed. Luckily, my game has not crashed, which is great news. So without further ado, we're going to get started. My Stream Deck plugin does not work, which is very frustrating. So you're going to have to have a bit of the pause screen this evening, which I do apologise about that. But anyway, here we go then. Welcome to Brazil. And we got drivers on their laps at the moment. We've got 15 drivers tonight. Dan Morris is back racing for the first time in a while. The first time I commentated on him, but I've raced with him many a times, and he's very respectful when I race alongside him anyway. So good to have him. Of course, due to his commitments, he can only do 1 race a night. So a bit unfortunate, but at least he is here racing with us. So it is a 35% race and a safety car, short qualifying. The softs, I think, could be viable around this track. Scottish Go up to the line. He goes and improves into P2. Not quite enough to beat Lewis Craig's time. Lewis Craig's time is a whopping fast time with a 1 at 8.5. Kai is also back this week. Let's go on board with Kai as we take you through the lap. So you're going towards turn number 4. 4th gear, you aim to the left-hand side and then clip the right-hand side quite nicely. In towards turn 5 and 6. There's quite a few sausage curbs, and you know me, how much I hate sausage curbs. Heading in towards turn 7. you got to aim for that left apex quite a lot, actually. And now you're going to be aim for a tight line through here, which he does. And towards the final sector. In towards turn 11. Now into towards Jung Chao. I think that's how you say it. No, Jung Chao. However you say that name, I'm rubbish at pronouncing corners. I've not commentated around Brazil in a long time. But anyway, we are going to get going to finish this lap from Kai. What does he do? It is a 1:12.301. Still some time to be found from him. Who's next up to cross the line? Det was very unlucky last week. He got a DNF in Singapore and unfortunately he disconnected in what do you call it? The track after that, which was Kota. So unfortunately he is out of the championship fight, but he said to me in the chat earlier on that he wants to aim for third in the title. So there we go. We already got our prediction in the chat from someone that's racing. I would like you that are watching right now, who are you rooting for? Who do you think is going to be champion? Lewis Craig thinks it's going to be Dan. Well, Dan's got a lot of work to do because by the end of tonight, the gap's going to be no more than 30 points between himself and Wade. If Jordan does not get pole, that's it. He's out of championship fight. So Jordan has got to really set some lap times, which sets us the timing screen to light. So we'll keep an eye on him throughout. It's set to 2 time. Looks really good indeed. So he goes up to the line very soon. Some people take a quite short run to the line, as we've got multiple people that just set runs. Dexter 109.409, as Jordan on the mediums sets a 109.117. Now, that is pretty incredible stuff from Jordan on mediums, which means his stuff on the softs is going to be quite incredible. The Darky slots himself into P2. He's now out of the championship fight because, of course, he DNF'd in the last 2 races. Well, he didn't even start Singapore, of course. Here's your championship leader, Waze, who is trying to set a lap time at the moment, but he is getting blocked by a Sauber. Oh my goodness, that was an absolute nightmare. You do not want to block that, because even though it's the last few races, you do not want to cause title contenders to be like, oh, right, Waze, 5 place grid penalty. Okay, so I'm almost certain James is going to get a penalty for that, which could affect him next season, which won't be ideal. So I'm just trying to figure out the gap between Dan and Waze at the moment. It is exactly 30 points. So as long as Dan outscores Waze by 1 point here on this track, then basically the fight goes to Abu Dhabi. Otherwise, it'll be Waze's to lose. To be fair, though, Waze's only got 1 win this season. The one that the most wins are the driver that's got to basically get 2 wins tonight. And that's Jordan. Ryan Berry, of course, won in Canada. One of my favourite wins of the entire season, actually. Even though he was under the radar for some of it, but he picked up the pieces. He had no penalties at all in that race. And he's done a good job, or quite a lot this season, improving. So, Ryan Berry in the Aston Martin, of course, wanted to do better than what we saw last Joel did in qualifying in Zandvoort. He goes up to the line, and it is P10 for him. So most people's lap times are done and dusted. Purple set to 2 for Jordan, again on another set of the mediums. So he doesn't want to show his true pace early on. So what could our champion contender do? Can he pull a lap good enough for pole? Well, at the moment it is P3, but the timings are taking a while to update. So we do apologise about that. So he wasn't on an out lap. He's on a flyer lap. Scottish goes. He is through the final sector now, heading towards Zhengzhou in just a minute in the Alpine. Of course, another driver that has improved quite a bit this season. Quite a few people early started league racing this season on any F1 game, which I have to say is very, very impressive. So, Scottish Go, what can he do? Can he get his penultimate pole of the season? Answer to that is no, but P3 for him is pretty good. Tony at the moment I was gutted that the only win that he's got this season, I didn't commentate because I wasn't here. Lewis Craig commentated on that win, not me. So maybe this could be the night where Tony could win when I'm here, but he's invalidated. So he's going to go again. I think we will see multiple drivers maybe do multiple runs on the sauce, potentially. That could be good. So we see Tony came across the line. What could his teammate do? I don't think it may be enough for pole, but you never know. Nope, it's not. It's not updating these, what do you call it? These best lap times. It's weird. Unless he's doing quite a few, it's really hard to tell. It's not updating Jordan's tyre, which is very, very odd. Apologies about that. So your order at the moment is Lewis Craig with a 1 at 8.542. Darky in second with a 1 at 8.557. Scottish Goat in third with a 1 at 8.559. Jordan in fourth with a 1 at 8.795. And then Dan with a 1 at 8. So we got two of the two Dans in a Ferrari tonight. So yeah, Dan Mice and then Dan P. Wilner. So I have to call Daniel and Dan P. Wilner. That's going to be very confusing. Anyway, there's no Jake tonight for a good reason. Jake's at Monza. He's going to be watching the Grand Prix in real life for the first time. And he's going to be in the Parabolica stand. I am so jealous that he's going to the Grand Prix in Monza. And he's probably praying that Lewis doesn't mess up like he did at Zandvoort. And he's gonna hope that his teammate tonight is gonna do well here. And his replacement as well. But anyway, Deck. 7th at the moment. Can he climb up? Nope, he can't. Let me get the lap data for you so I can see what happens. Maybe the timings may not update for me. And we might just have to wait to the end. I don't know. I hope that's not the case for some people. But these people last chances to get some very decent points on the board for the final 2 rounds of the championship. As we've got a yellow flag. That's one of the Hatters going extremely slowly. That's probably Tony. Yeah, Tony's about to start his lap. Unless he's ran out of fuel. Yes, he's ran out of fuel. So Tony is going to go into the pit lane. Waze, I believe, is on a lap again. So yes, he is going to go on another attempt. Because he got impeded by his first one. We've got both Red Bulls on a lap as well. There's a bit of traffic in front of Waze. And, oh no, Waze has hit the grass. This is not going well for qualifying for Waze, which gives good hope for our championship contenders to kind of like close the gap a little bit. As Darky just set the fastest lap with a 1 at 8.227. Quite incredible stuff from the Red Bull driver. We got Scottish Goat about to start his lap, I believe. Nope, that was Waze coming into the pit lane. Dan Mice. What can he do on the mediums? P4 on the mediums. That is impressive. Bowser doing a good lap time on the mediums as well. He dives into the pit zone. Realistically, if you go for the softer option, you could do 4 laps. Why has Ryan gone on 9 laps on softs? Hopefully he won't be using that in the race. Especially with a 35% race. Because that could be an absolute nightmare. I wouldn't be able to cope with that personally. Let's just hope he doesn't get disqualified after all of that. And don't forget, top 5 do get points in qualifying, which could be crucial for the championship. As I've got yellow flags, and that is just like people going into the pits and running out of fuel, because it's quite easy to run out of fuel when you're doing quali laps around Brazil. Because you want to have as little fuel as possible here in Brazil. So we'll see if Scottish Goat, I think it's going to go. Yeah, so I think we will see another push lap pretty soon. Dan just come across the line in second, which we didn't spot. That is good. That is good because his nearest rival is 15th. And if Waze doesn't score any points in that race, Dan's going to close the gap quite a bit, and this could really help with his championship chances. Dan's the only driver out of all 3 championship contenders not to pick up a win. He's picked up 0 wins so far this season. I wonder if he could get another one. Could this man pick up a race victory? Up to the line he goes. Nope, he can't. He bottles it a little bit. Jordan goes across the line in P2 at the moment. Now, he'll be out of championship contention if things stay as they are now. But Jordan was saying in the chat that he was not bothered about not winning the title because he got quite a few wins this season and he joined midway through the season. So he's not bothered if he doesn't win the title. But it would be a bonus if he did. So we'll see if he will have enough time to do that. And it is getting towards the calm before the storm here in Brazil. Who is going to get that all-important pole position? The time to beat is set by Darky with a 108.227. We've got multiple people on their outlaps. Deck, followed by Bazza, followed by Chris Johnson. So those 3 are on outlaps at the moment. Our championship leader, Waze, is also on an outlap currently. Now biting stuff. As I was trying to go on board with Waze, there we go. So you're going to try and get quite a bit of heat into your tyres. And you can see quite a bit of traffic. So it's going to be quite hard to get the gap into a very decent amount. So if I were you, don't do what I did in Zandvoort in one of the practice sessions. Don't take someone out. So Wade will need to get updated. It's the only driver yet to set a lap, of course. Jordan has set 2 laps. And he's about a few hundredths shy of pole position. He's got to get this. He's got to nail this lap now. What's he going to do in sector 2? We'll see. Of course, our main focus is going to be on our championship contenders. He's 1 step down. So as long as he finds... if he doesn't find a miraculous final set, then that's it. That's his championship over. He's got to take the shortest run to the line. We'll keep an eye on people as they cross the line. He goes second, well, stays second. Dan starts his lap then. Scottish Goat has retired on track in the into the final sector, which is not good at all. Wade's in the middle of his lap. I thought we got one of the racing bulls. That's Lewis Craig. Purple sector 2 for Lewis Craig. At the moment, the pole to beat is a 108.2. Could Lewis beat that? Or maybe be getting the 107. Up to the line. Yes, he does. 108.105. Can anyone beat that? We've got Chris Johnson up to the line next. What could he do? Deck can't do anything. But what about Chris Johnson? P9. Ryan Berry, P14. Waze can't do anything about it. He only slots himself into 8. Darky. Darky in second at the moment. He dives it into the pits. There we got Dan. He'll score enough points anyway to outscore Waze at this stage. But he goes in. He goes into the pits. He doesn't think he'll do enough for pole. Jordan will probably do the same. That's it for him. So your pole sitter, as there are a few people jumping up the order, what could Bazza do? He invalidated. So yes, Lewis Craig is on pole for tonight's Brazilian Grand Prix. By about a tenth, just over a tenth of a second. Really, really great stuff from him. And he's determined to have a little bit of fun here this evening. And with Jordan not getting pole position, this means Jordan is out of championship contention. We are now down to 2 championship runners. Which makes it easier for me to track anyway. Darky's saying he didn't have the best of qualifying. But to be fair, Darky, your lap was pretty good. As we will wait to load the results. Please. Come on, game. I want you to load the results for qualifying. And it's not loading. Great. That is not a good way to start qualifying. Or end qualifying and head to the main race, that is. There's quite a few arguments in the chat about impeding. Stop arguing about impeding and get on with the main race. Nope, it doesn't show the results. Well, you've probably seen it earlier, so we got Lewis Craig on par anyway, so there we go. Now, in Brazil it tends to rain, but at the moment, as you can see on your screen, we are not going to be having rain in the race. Unless the drivers could tell me otherwise. I'm not seeing any complaints in the chat. So that probably means it will be dry. Imagine if it's a wet Abu Dhabi. That will be absolutely insane. But I've actually commentated on the wet Abu Dhabi race. It was a dynamic sprint race. And I couldn't believe it. But you never know. The chance of rain around Abu Dhabi is 1%, but we will go through a little bit about that in just a moment. So, in order for Dan to stay in a championship fight after Brazil, he needs to outscore Waze by 1 point. 1 point, that's it. Of course, the drivers haven't been told to ready up yet because they have got to load their strategies. I could see very briefly what Dan Morris's tyres are on right now. And you can see it on your screen at the moment. Crazy. Anyway, we are about to get underway then for the 5 red lights. Action here in Brazil. Who gets a good start? Lewis Craig has an almighty start compared to everybody else. Everybody has been caught a little bit off guard as they make their way towards the centre S's. For the first time of asking. Dan gets such a good start as well. But yes, Lewis is already a second clear of everybody else, which I have to say is insane. Making their way towards turn 4 now. You can see Deck up the inside of Jordan. Deck, brilliant move, as he's already made his way on the mediums past the hard runners. So the medium runners making some inroads at the moment. Scottish Goat on the hard. Bit of a gamble considering he's in the top 3, top 4. But he's had the best start out of anybody on the hard compounded tyres. Way struggling a little bit on the hards as Jack goes up the inside of Ways in towards turns 8 and 9. But Ways still managing to stay ahead as it stands. Quite close battling to start off the race, but the top 3 are just pretty much running away with it. Of course, your championship contender that is doing the best right now is Dan P. Wilner in 4th place. Oh no, as Ryan Berry has got a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I find it so easy to speed in the pit lane. It just could cost you so much time. As Dan gets past Scottish Goat on the mediums with the fresher grip and the softer tyre, that really helped him a little bit there. So Dan up to 3rd as he sets his sights for Darky with 2nd place at the moment. Deck could see Chris Johnson in his gearbox right now, looking like to have a bit of fun. Don't forget, 3rd in the title could still go to Deck if anybody else makes a mistake here. So Deck is doing all he can right now. Of course, him and Ryan Barry, very good mates. And of course, they want to score as many points as they can. For the constructors, for Aston Martin, getting on the power. Surely Deck's got to use a bit of overtake. He's got to at this point as Darky and Lewis exchange fastest laps. The outside line is time for Deck. And that was really tight, really controlled. And now Deck's up into 5th place. But could Chris Johnson fight back? Because Chris Johnson has a bit of DRS now. But look at Jordan and Dan right on both sides of Chris Johnson. Dan Morris does get past Jordan. Still going side by side through the middle of turn 5. And on his return to league racing, that was very good stuff from Dan at the moment. And Jordan might try and sneak back. No, but he does not. And I think a lot of people trying to get some heat into their tyres now, because for some people, the hards are going to take a long time to warm up here. We got some more moves. Oh, Deck! Deck's had a moment. Deck's had a moment. I did see a bit of polystyrene fall off. So I think it was Deck. So Deck has dropped into 10th place, which is not ideal at all at this stage. He's got to try and gain the position back, in particular from Waze. Here comes Deck onto the left-hand side. Oh! Usually when you go for a move up the inside in towards turn 1, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Dan Morris, he goes up the left-hand side and he's up to 5th. Darky's out! Darky's out of the race! And we've got a VSC. I was surprised that was only a VSC. I thought that would have been a safety car. Nope, it's upgraded to a full safety car. Right. So, one's on the hard, they're screwed. But, Lewis, Dan, this is great news for them. They could go onto a set of hards till the end. But that was, honestly, that was a very weird crash from Darky. I hope that wasn't a rage quit, or it might have just been a mistake, reminiscent to what we saw in the wet conditions with Jenson Button in 2003. So, the ones on the mediums, perfect chance for them to pit. Perfect chance. But we may see some people stay out. Scottish Goat staying out. I think if you're on the hard, you would stay out at this point. Oh, no, he's not. Dan's going in. Okay. Dan's the only one who's on hards that's come in. Interesting. So Dan, as Dan Morris got another set of hards, potentially? Softs? So Dan Morris is going for 2 stop, it looks like. So 2 stops for Dan Morris then. Oh my goodness. Very interesting stuff. So pretty much everybody from P5 downwards has stopped. With a mixture of strategies. And my question that I will ask to people in the chat who's watching at the moment on YouTube. What do you think we'll get any more safety cars? Now, I did see in the chat from Darky that he had a perfect exit, but he just lost it. Which could be very frustrating, because sometimes you may take a perfect line one time, and you may take it the same way, and the fossils just like, nope. And it might just be the tyres are giving up, potentially. And he could be on the wrong tyre pressures. And remember, on F125, you've got to be very smooth with the steering application. You can't be that aggressive. Because otherwise, you're going to lose so much more tyre wear. So that's maybe why Darky lost it a little bit. I know when I've done some races around it. Sorry, I've got to move my mic a little bit. As soon as I've done races around it, I know my tyres could go off very quickly. Sorry, I was just moving the mic because I was stretching my legs a little bit. I've been in the office all day and I've been sitting all day, so I just needed to stretch a little bit. So it's not going to be that long, guys, before the safety car comes in this lap. So we will watch them go through. Why is the volume bar keep going up? bit frustrating, that. You're probably going to have to deal with, like, the very, what do you call it? Low noise. Hopefully not. I will fix it before we get to Abu Dhabi. So, safety car in this lap. Will the ones that have been on the hards for 5 laps be able to hold off the ones that have just pitted onto the hard tyres? Chris Johnson on the mediums. So is Dan Morris. They're going to climb their way up, but they're going to have to stretch those tyres for the rest of the race, which is going to be a very hard thing. So for the second time tonight, Scottish Goat leads the field away quite nicely indeed, but you can already see the ones on fresher rubber trying to make their way through, and it is going to be very hard for them right now. DRS won't be activated until the second lap of asking. Jack Craig already passed Kai already, but can Lewis Craig get past the championship leader? The answer to that is no, not at this stage. But Wade has gone off. He's struggling on those hard tyres. Lewis going to try and get another place off of Bazza. Bazza, we know, likes defending, but he couldn't defend that one. So Lewis up to third, but of course Lewis is on the fresher rubber. Wade's past Bazza as well, up to fourth. The ones that have been on those hards for so long, they are going to hope for a safety car. Someone just had a bit of a moment. Was that Chris Johnson? That might have been Chris Johnson, actually, in the background. But only time will tell with that one. Scottish Goat doing a great job to hold on to the lead on old tyres. So maybe track position could be key here. Here comes Dan. Through he goes past Bazza. As Dan has got to climb as many positions as he can now. He knows, of course, where he needs to stop. So he's not going to be bothered that much. Dan Morris comes in and he retires. So I wonder what happened there. So I must have missed something, or maybe he has to go. One of the two. So hopefully he could join ready for next season. Of course, he's going to be a reserve driver next season. And I think, if I were you, you don't want to be too close against your rival, because the dirty air could come back to bite you around this track. Of course, we are potentially due one more safety car, but we know with 35% rated, we only tend to get one safety car anyway. But I know with tracks like Monza, you can get multiple, but obviously Monza is a 50% race. Do I see a side-by-side action happening there? Was that from Deck? No, it's Chris Johnson. Never mind. Chris Johnson trying to get past Bazza in towards turn 1. Let's see if he could do it. Down the inside. That was a bit risky for Chris Johnson, but he does it. What a brave move. But Bazza's going to fight back here in towards turn 3. DRS enabled for the Welshman. But we know how Chris Johnson likes to attack here. In towards turn 4, bit of a love tap. Chris Johnson keeps position. Deck's not that far behind as well. This is the fight we saw in Spain a few months ago. This is kind of like a repeat, but don't forget, multiple people still yet to pit. Basil on the older tyres, trying to fend off people who have newer tyres. Basil finding it difficult, but fair play to him for defending like he has. Tony not that far behind him either. As we're about to start lap 10 of 25. The gap between Jordan and Scottish Goat now is second as Jordan takes the lead. Lewis Craig, though, not far behind Scottish Goat. So we'll keep an eye on him first. A bit of a love tap once more. He takes a part of the track that I wasn't expecting him to overtake at, which he does. So Lewis Craig up into second position on the road. So he's 4 tenths behind Jordan now. Of course, Lewis Craig started the race on pole position, and he wants to get that win. He really does. Look at this. Of course, Chris Johnson's pulled away the gap to Bazza, but Bazza's still ahead of Deck. I think I'm almost certain Deck's going to go for the move anytime soon, I think. Tony could go around the outside here, which he doesn't. It'll be really brave if they go for that move. But we are going to approaching the halfway stages, almost the halfway stages very shortly. I think Lewis Craig could get Jordan here. He's got to at this point. To the inside. Through goes Lewis. Up into P1. And look at this. Deck does eventually now get past Bazza. Bazza tried all he could to hold off people on newer tyres. But the newer tyres were just too good. Deck's up to 7th. But look at Bazza. Bazza thought he would have fought back there. But no. Fair play to him for not giving up here. This is great stuff. Meanwhile, Wade is doing exactly the same to Dan in 5th. So I'm interested to see how that battle is going to unfold between your two championship contenders. We got our first time penalty of the evening. Ryan Barry getting a 3-second. Of course, people got a 10-second, but quite a few people might have served it in the pit lane or they retired. So your net race leader is Lewis, followed by Dan, and then Chris Johnson at the moment will be on the podium, but Chris Johnson will probably have to stop again. Here comes Dan around the outside, waits to the inside. Waits defends really well against Daniel P. Wilner. Of course, Dan has not got a race win this season. Could we see a champion that wins a championship but never wins a race? I've seen that in many championships. I think I've seen that in one championship when I've been racing in. I've commentated on one of them when a champion has not won a race. It shows that, of course, it's not just decided on the amount of wins you get. If you get wins and then the rest DNS, for example, or low point score finishes, you may not win the title that way. So it's about those consistencies. Whenever you're not winning, are you picking up podiums? Are you picking top 5 finishes? So you've got to really maximise those results in order to get the championship result that you need. And we know some drivers after this season, because quite a lot of them are racing next season, there'll be quite a lot of people that be thinking, what do I need to work on ahead of next season? We do have some faster drivers coming in. I think we got the Sauber pairing next season that looks very quick. So I think the drivers are going to be worried and shaking in their boots there. I've heard good things about them. And I've heard good things about Dan P. Wilner as he passes Wade up to 4th. So I wonder if Wade is tired and decided to give up the ghost here. Are the ones on the hards going to pit now, or are they going to wait for a safety car? I think sometimes it's a huge gamble to pray for a safety car, because I've done many a time, stayed out in Brazil and prayed for a safety car, and then the safety car never happened. And I was pretty much screwed over. So sometimes you've got to go with your gut feeling here. Jordan doing very well to keep up with Lewis Craig, actually. Imagine if he started on mediums. That would have been impressive. It's nice, of course, to see the variety of different strategies used by quite a lot of drivers here this evening. And they're all still quite close to each other. Jack Craig, by the way, having a good fight with Gamer James. Of course, Jack will not be racing next season. He will be returning to the commentary box. I'll be doing my best for the final 2 races to make sure that the seat is warm as possible when he comes to the comms box in a few weeks' time. Of course, season 6 starts on the 24th of September. I'll be kicking off with Texas and Belgium. Very exciting stuff. So Jack wants to make sure that his final 2 races for Dive Bomb F1 for a while goes swimmingly. And he wants to get some decent points to boot as well. Scottish, go! Oh, he almost took out Dan. That was a save and a half. Scottish, go! You almost gave me a heart attack. I wonder if Scottish Goat's tyres are getting on the dead side. And Dan and Waze are giving us a very good fight, actually. And that is really what we need from our championship contenders. And I feel bad for not covering quite a lot of fights here today. But this is the fight that we really want to see, despite the fact that they are on completely different strategies. Dan in third, but Waze, he's like, oh, I don't care, I'm on older tyres. I want to try and close in on Dan and get the move done and make things harder. We have more pitters, by the way. Chris Johnson, off from his mediums, goes on to hards. And Gamer James goes on to a set of mediums to take him till the end of the race. Darky will be back for Abu Dhabi. That's what I've been told anyway. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. The gap now is stretched between first and second, 1.1 seconds. But it won't be that long before the mediums become viable. So the gap's stretched between Dan and Waze now, 1 second. Which means Scottish Go could have a chance to fight back now. The gaps now, I think, between quite a lot of the drivers are sort of increased as they found a bit their rhythm, or maybe they were struggling a bit more with their tyres. Of course, some people, like Bazza, Scottish Go, Waze, Jordan, they've been on those tyres for 15 laps now. Has Scottish Go picked up a penalty? That's not good. And if there was another safety car at that point, he would be even more screwed. So Scottish Go's got to get a move on now. He's got to get past a few cars. He's got to think about pitting soon because he does not want to get held up in some traffic. Or maybe they're staying out because look at the clouds. Is it getting darker or is it just my eyes deceiving me? No, it's my eyes deceiving me. Never mind. So, the hard runners will start thinking about coming into the pits now. Nope, Scottish Goat stays out. So does Jordan and Waze. What about Bazza in P8? He stays out as well. Interesting stuff. Tony picks up a penalty as well. Of course, there were some drivers that were in the championship fight last week, but they got eliminated. Kai and James having a ding-dong. What we love to see. Lovely stuff. More battles starting to come into service now. Wade has found a lot more time to Dan again. But you can see Wade's car is really starting to slide compared to Dan's. So I know maybe for Waze he might potentially aim for the soft compounder tyres. Honestly, I won't be surprised if he just does that. So through he comes then. To the pits he goes. To the pits he goes. Jordan stays out, of course. Scottish Goat comes in. Will Bazza follow them in? Or will Bazza try and stay out and hope for the best? Bazza stays out as well. So, Wade I would expect to go on softs. Maybe he's going on mediums, never mind. I think the much smarter move will be to go on mediums. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me saying you should go on soft because I've never done a 35% race around it. So I wouldn't have known like what the typical strategy is. Just don't ask me. So your race update on lap 18 of 25. Lewis Craig leads from Jordan in second, Dan in third, Deck in 4th, Tony 5th, Bazza 6th, Jack 7th, Ryan Berry 8th, Chris Johnson 9th. Wade in a 10th, has yellow flag. That was Jack, who's had a spin. Luckily, no damage is caused by the McLaren driver, but he is pretty much in a spot where he might have overheated a bit too much or caused a bit too much wear. So maybe he could go on soft potentially. Chris Johnson. Oh, look at this. Look at this. This is absolutely fantastic. As Chris Johnson and Wade having a ding-dong battle there. Oh, my goodness. Of course, Wade's fighting for the championship. Chris Johnson fighting for pride right now. Ryan Berry doing exactly the same, also fighting for pride. Lewis and Ryan Berry have been on those tyres for 14 laps so far. I don't think the track's going to get dark. I think it's going to stay exactly as it is. But you never know with a track like Brazil. It can always throw spanners in the works. And that's what is crazy about weather predictions. So Ryan Berry. Ryan Berry's struggling quite a bit with his tyres now as well. You can see who's doing well and who isn't. Gap still between first and second, 9/10 of a second. I wonder if these two are going to be the drivers that we'll see fighting for the championship next season in Season 6. That will be really good to watch. Chris Johnson, oh no! Chris Johnson picked himself a penalty. That is not good at all. I thought I saw rain for a minute then, but it must have been me imagining things. It's just probably my brain hoping for rain or like seeing sweat, but it's just not gonna rain. It's just impossible. You can see a bit of blue sky anyway. I wonder if Bazza is going to go on soft tyres, I think. Jordan, I think, is going to do the same. So, yes, here's Jordan. So I'm assuming Jordan's going to go onto the softs. Because if he doesn't, then I don't know why he would have stayed out. Yes, Jordan stays and goes on softs. Way set the fastest lap, but you do not get a point for fastest lap. So that doesn't really achieve anything. Way's doing very well to recover to 6th place at the moment. He's going to try and climb as many positions as he can now. Through goes Waze, past Bazza, into turn 4. Nicely done. As Waze is up into 5th place. Don't forget, Bazza's going to drop quite a bit down the order because he's the only driver yet to pit. Everyone else has done at least one stop. The gap now between Lewis and Dan, 5.3 seconds. Derek in 3rd place at the moment. He'll probably be pleased with that, but he's got his arch nemesis, Tony, wanting to chase him down on track at least. But don't forget, he's got a penalty. Jordan, Chris Johnson, oh my God, 3 wide. And we got Bazza as well, I believe. Yeah, that as well on the back of this too. Scottish Goat as well. Don't forget, they've all got different tyre compounds. Scottish Goat to the left. They all wanted to have a bit of fun, but there we go. Scottish Goat up into 8th. Chris Johnson into 7th. All trying to get past the defence master of Bazza. Which they do end up doing so. Who did I see getting another penalty? It wasn't Jack Craig, was it? Oh, I have no idea at this point. No idea. Very soon we'll be approaching the 3 laps to go mark of this race, of the Brazilian Grand Prix. The penultimate round of this race. Don't forget, Dan needs to outscore Waze by 1 point, which he is doing so. He cannot afford to pick up any time penalties, because otherwise it will all go in Wade's favour when we head to Abu Dhabi. Where is Race right now? He is trying his best to catch up to Tony. Tony's tyres must be absolutely dead at the moment. Jordan, though, setting the fastest lap of the race. Scottish Goat getting past Chris Johnson. Bazza pits. Rain! It is raining, isn't it? Hold on. Yeah, it's raining! Oh! Will it be enough for Inters or not? Oh, that has changed things massively at the penultimate round of the race. Did Bazza pit at the wrong time? Or, I don't know. Could he gone for Inters instead? Ah. But to be fair, though, the track is still quite dry. So probably medium was the best decision. But how is it raining when it's sunny? That's what I don't get. I was not expecting rain at all. Ah! Dive Bomb F1 does like to bring out some drama in a championship finale. Oh my goodness. Absolutely crazy stuff. And just watch it stop raining any moment now. That'll be absolutely insane. Kai has gone on Inters. I don't think it's going to be enough for Inters, but a fair play. He's got nothing to lose by doing that. So if he makes it work, then fair dues. But if not, you know, anything could happen. So we are about to start the final lap of this race. The gap now is 6.2 seconds between Lewis Craig and Daniel P. Wilner as we start these crucial laps. Of course, Lewis Craig already getting quite a few wins this season, and he'll definitely want to add to it. Jordan could get past Waze here. He's on softs. And there's one car that's being lapped as well. Oh, this is going to be tricky. That did allow Waze to get DRS. But it's going to be so slippy heading towards this section now. This could be crucial. Here comes Jordan with the grippier rubber. But it could be more slippery now. Jordan to the left. Through he goes into turn 4. And Jordan's up to 5th. But he will get 4th on the road because Tony's penalty. Interesting stuff here in Brazil. But I really don't want to drive for this man. The man in the racing balls has got a point to prove. Yeah, it is getting slippier now. If it was for one more lap, it definitely would have been Inters. But they're just trying to bring the car home. Here comes Lewis Craig. He wins the penultimate race of the season in Dive Bomb F1. Dan keeps his title hopes alive by outscoring Wade yet again. He did it in qualifying, and he's done it again here. Jack gets on the podium. Jordan in 4th. Wade will come across the line in 6th. Oh, did Wade get a penalty in the final lap? Oh, that was hard to tell. Or he must have lost grip or something. I don't know. That was confusing. Anyway, Jordan 4th, Tony 5th, Wade 6th, Chris Johnson 7th, Scottish Goat 8th, Ryan Berry 9th, Gamer James 10th, Bazza 11th, Jack 12th, Kai 13th. Of course, Kai being a lap down. So, I believe, of course, I'm trying to remember where Dan qualified. So I will get the point system up for you. Because I would like to do some maths. But to be fair, though, people might ask me, were you good at maths at school? No. I got a C. But, to be honest, I think I scraped a C, to be honest. So the fans are celebrating. A Scotsman comes out on top. And his name is Lewis Craig. So... Oh, there we go. I'm just getting points up for you. So, and annoyingly, it won't show the result. Oh, there we go. It does show the results. Thank God for that. So, yep, he was 4th, so you'll get an extra 2 points for that. So, Lewis, from Dan, from Deck, from Jordan, Tony, Waze, Chris Johnson, Scottish Goat, Ryan Berry, Gamer James, Bazza, and Jack Craig. So, I'm going to... scroll down so Jack could get the lovely results. So I'm just going to note down these results here. So it'll be 2nd for Dan and 6th for Waze. And I need to get the welcome screen up just before that as well. So I'm going to be doing some maths live on air, people, to see. So Jordan's out of it. Jordan's out of it. So Wade only scored 9 points, so he would be on 246 plus 9, 255 points. Okay, so Wade will be on 255 points. So Dan, 216 plus 2, because he got points for finishing 4th in quali, plus 18, he'll be on 235. So the gap between Wade and Dan is 20 points. So basically, Dan will have to finish on the podium with Wade not scoring at all. I don't know. I think Jack will be doing permutations for me, because I know the drivers will be keen to find out about the permutations as well. But yes, as far as I'm aware, gap between Dan and Wade is 20 points. If I'm wrong, I'm completely sorry. But yes, I think the gap's 20 points. Yeah, it's not just the championship contenders that want to see the championship standings. I want to see the championship standings and permutations. Now, we are seeing people in the chat about those hards. Bazza did the most on those hards. He did 22 laps, 82%. And the game put him on mediums instead of softs. Oh, Bazza. That is a bit frustrating. Oh, why did it kick me from the lobby? Weird. It kicked me from the lobby. That is very strange. So you won't be able to see that they're starting without me. I need an invite, please. I need an invite from the lobby. If someone can invite me, that'll be great. If anyone's watching this back, invite. Oh, someone just sent me an invite. Thank you. That was close. Oh my God. And they haven't even started yet. Thank God they haven't started yet. I literally thought they were going to start. I don't know why. I don't know why I got kicked. And you can tell who's watching the stream because I had like a million different invites now. So 56% on the rear with Lewis. That shows he was managing his tyres and he, I think he pitted at the right time, didn't he? Lewis Craig, I think's been called the tyre whisperer in the chat. Now with the gap, 20 points, if my maths is correct, 19-point gap. Okay, I must have done my maths wrong. I must have done my maths wrong. Because I thought you get 2 points for finishing 4th in quali. Yeah, I definitely did my maths wrong. So yeah, 19 points is the gap. So there you go. If you're watching this, 19 points is the gap between our top two. It's going to be a tall order for Dan to win the title, but we've seen strange things happen. In order for Dan to stand a chance, ideally a podium, probably second, ideally, he will need to finish. If he doesn't get a good qualifying, he will need to finish second with Waze not scoring. It is as simple as that. But of course, I think Jack is probably figuring out the permutations as we speak. So please bear with me, because of course I would like to tell you what the permutations are, but I don't know. So oh my God, I can hear myself on stream. I don't want that, and you probably heard me twice as well. Sod. Right, we are about to get underway for Abu Dhabi. Of course, Abu Dhabi, one of my favourite tracks since they changed the layout. First used in Formula 1 back in 2009. It does produce high wear. It cost $40 billion to make, and work began on this circuit back in 2006. It was a Herman Tilke designed circuit, and the circuit itself was modified ahead of the 2021 Grand Prix to boost overtaking opportunities, and I do prefer that layout. It's been the closing event since I think 2009, and it's been holding the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix by quite a bit. And tonight is gonna hold our championship decider. Final round. We've had 19 rounds already, and it all comes down to this, and it all comes down to two drivers. Who's it gonna be? Who is gonna win the title? At the moment, it's stuck in Wade's favour, but you never know what could happen here. You never know what could happen. So, here we go then. So, we're about to get with one-shot qualifying. I keep saying so, but that's a bit annoying at this stage. So, stop saying so. So, I think we're Waze on 255. Is Dan on 236? I think that's what it is. But we are about to get underway for qualifying. One shot. Chris Johnson's not loaded the setup. He is screwed. Let's go on board with our championship leader. Oh, where is he? There he is. No. I went on board with the wrong person. No. Go away. Right. Okay. Got you. There you go. Right. You can tell it's the last race of the season where I'm going absolutely crazy. But anyway, you're making your way through in towards this next section, turn 4 and 5. Keep as tight to the left as you possibly can to maximise the traction. You're now going to be getting the DRS activated. We can see quite a few overtakes around here. It's a double DRS zone. And this requires a smooth entry and exit. Clip that curb again. And I know the car could be definitely unsettled through there if you get it wrong. Dan, I believe, is invalidated. Oh, no. So Dan really needs a good a good race now, because Wade is going to score some decent points by the looks of it. Wade's making his way through in towards the hotel section, which looked absolutely beautiful in the night sky. And this is where we've seen people go wide before in the TV corner. Oh, I just jigged Waze. Waze is going to kill me. But Darky then comes across the line, and he will take pole for the final time tonight in this season, and he gets points. 5 more points. Lewis Craig just about misses out in P2. But both of our championship contenders invalidate. And Darky saying he's, yeah. So, that does mean that Dan needs a podium now. Needs second, I believe. He needs, yeah, oh, actually, no, he doesn't. He needs to win. He needs to win this race. With Wade's DNFing, I think. But your order is Darky from Lewis. We'll scroll through because quite a few people DNF. James with his best qualifying of the season. Jordan would have been 4th. And Darky saying, as always, it could have been better his lap. Of course, Darky. You always say that. You like, decent lap, and then you say, oh, it could have been better. Fair enough. So, Wade's on 255. And Dan on 236, as far as as I'm not too mistaken. And I believe the championship standings have been updated on the app. So I would have got a screenshot, but I just don't have time. Yes, I was right. So I'll go for your standings, actually. So if you're listening, guys, drivers, I would get it up on my screen, but it'll be too late for me to do that. So Wade is leading the championship with 255, and Dan's on 236. So yes, I was right. And it's Jordan on 205. Deck on 199, so Deck can still get third. So good fight between third for Jordan and Deck here. Darky in 5th on 187. Chris Johnson in 6th on 186. Tony in 7th on 181. Jake 8th on 143. Scottish Goat in 9th on 142. Bazza in 10th on 137. Lewis Craig not that far behind in 11th. That could stop Bazza from getting the top 10. So there you go. I looked at the companion app, and that is your top 10 standings. So yes, Dan must win this race with Wade's no higher than P9. Oh, Dan's left the session. Oh, no. You've got to be kidding me. Hopefully Dan joins soon, because otherwise he'll be screwed. But anyway, the lights are going out, and it is go, go, go with a disconnected Dan. But here comes Lewis Craig around the outside, but Darky covers it in towards turn 1. But we got plenty of things going on as James holding on to 3rd place. Scottish Goat making up quite a few positions already in this race. Luckily, Dan has rejoined the race, which is great to see, because that would have been an absolute disaster as, oh, we had one of the Aston Martins that's had a little bit of an off there, but that would have been a disaster as Ryan Berry trying to go free wide between Tony and Chris Johnson in towards the chicane coming up. And a tiny bit of contact being made, but no can do. No damage, luckily. We'll get your tyres up for you. So, Lewis Craig's gone on the hard. Everyone else has gone on the mediums. Baz has gone on hard as well. So, a mixture of strategies again. Here comes Scottish Go to passes James. Really great move. Really nice move. So, who is going to get the last win of the season? We'll have to wait and see here. Has Dan rejoined the session? Yes, he has. Okay, good. But he has got a mountain to climb here. But anything can happen here in Abu Dhabi as... Oh, what's happened to... Oh, no, nothing's happened. It's just both of the Haas drivers trying to fight for position in towards turn 1. Because, of course, Jordan and Deck are fighting for P3 in the championship. And of course, we got Dan and Wade fighting for P1. This is going to be nail biting stuff, but make sure you stay tuned. As Bazza trying to go up the inside of James. Up into P5. So Bazza up a position again. Doing well on those hards. I remember doing a race around here in Abu Dhabi on the last game where the hards felt actually really nice. So I think it's another game where... Oh! What? How on earth did that happen? That's a bit unfair. Wade's got disqualified. Wow. Oh, no. Oh, if Waze loses the championship like that, I will be absolutely gutted for him. How on earth did he get that? Oh, I'd like to see that POV. I would like to speak to Wade at some point on DMs. If he's listening now, but just please tell me. But we got a few pitters right now. Something must have gone on in the background. And I did say anything could happen in Abu Dhabi, and boy, oh boy, it happened. But I do not want, if a championship is lost due to a disqualification, that will be absolutely gutted for Waze. And something put in the chat. I'm a bit. As Ryan Berry's out the race, okay, so Ryan Berry has retired in the pits, or did he bin it turn one or something? As we can see, Dan has passed Kai up tonight, so he's climbing. Don't forget, Dan's got to win this race. He's got to win. But I think now he can finish second, if I'm not too mistaken. So with Waze not scoring, let me have a look. Let me get the points again. I hate doing maths. Why does it have to be so hard? So, no, yeah, he'll still have to win. He'll still have to win. Never mind. He'll still have to win. So keep an eye on him as he goes for. It's gonna be tough, I think. So you never know. Wade could still win the title, which I think for his case, he really hopes that this is the case for him. So we can see Lewis Craig attacks from the inside in towards this next chicane, and I think he's going to get the job done, but oh, contact! Contact! That's a bit of damage between one of the Racing Bulls or the Red Bull, but I'm not entirely sure who that was. So sure, it might be Lewis Craig getting from end plate damage. I don't know. It was really hard to tell from that angle. Chris Johnson's past Jordan. James, look at this. James to the left-hand side. Jack Craig's just got himself another penalty, but look at Jordan and James here. Oh, this is absolutely insane between these two. It is great to watch this battling. This could be the race of the season, but you never know. You never know with this situation. So we had the two leaders who almost collide and give damage, which we do not want to happen at this stage. Darky wants to get another win. I jinxed Darky quite a lot last week, and I'm going to shut up at this point in terms of jinxing, because it could be an absolute nightmare. Jack Craig's out. He's binned it. Where did he bin it? Kai's gone past him, so that would have been a disaster to see where he binned it. So he binned it. He binned it just before the DRS detection point. So that is his final race as a full-time driver over. And Darky's taking the lead from Lewis Craig. 0.2 of a second separating them now into turn 9. Turn 9 is a beautiful section of the track. It's just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic stuff. It just looks great in the light. There's a lot of changes going on in the background. Scottish go. Attack. Oh, Darky. Darky's binned it in Latifi corner. And that is his race over. Oh. All is happening is drama after drama. What is going on? I can't take it anymore. that promotes Deck up to third. As it stands, I believe Deck will be third in the championship as long as he doesn't bin it. As Dan's gone on to hards. Okay. So Dan's going for an early undercut. I'm surprised about that. I thought he would have gone on to softs, but it just shows how rubbish my strategy making really is. So he goes out in 9th place. We're going to watch this lead battle then really start to come to the fray here. In towards turn 9 now. What's he going to do? Ryan Berry's left the session. Of course, the Audi disconnected. So we've got 4 drivers out of this race. And we're now on to your top 10. But looks like we could have a very tense fight between Bazza and Deck. Deck's tyres is dead. You can tell Deck's tyres is dead. Because you can see the harder tyres are being the better tyre at the moment here in Abu Dhabi. I don't know why it went on board with a different camera. But you can see Bazza has a superior grip on Deck at the moment. They're doing their best to try and close in on the front two. They both have good pace. Jordan trying to do exactly the same. Don't forget, no safety cars in this 25% race. It's just all about finding that superiority. You never know, it could rain. Joking. It never rains in Abu Dhabi. It only rains at the slight chance of it. But Bazza's first chance for an overtake goes through here, but Deck defends to the left-hand side. Bazza goes through, but Deck's going to have the DRS into the next corner. So Deck's going to do all he can now. Bazza's got to play his defensive moves at play here for the final race. Is Deck going to go for the lunging towards turn 9? He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it, but Bazza says no. Bazza says no. Closes the door on Deck. And Bazza stays on the podium for the time being. Nicely done. And Bazza did not have any DRS either, which shows the dirty air really coming into play here. Surely Deck will need to think about coming into the pits for a set of the hard tyres. Surely he's got to come up now. No, he's staying out. So is he doing soft tyres at the end? I have no idea. I have no idea. Because we know the undercut's powerful around here. James and Chris Johnson come into the pit lane now. I wonder if Dan pitted early to make sure we had clear air, which just could be a smart move. Wade must be getting very nervous right now. Chris Johnson, hard tyres. James, hard tyres. Where's Dan at the moment? I think James might get out ahead, potentially. No, he does not. Dan up to 6th place. There we go. Dan up to 6th place. But he's 22.9 seconds behind the leader, I think. Oh, my goodness. Look at this. I've just missed all this fighting going on. So Deck almost got Bazza. But Bazza was like, nope, I'm having none of that. But Deck's got him back again. Why did I miss all of that? Oh, that was incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. Oh, no, Bazza. Bazza getting a penalty. That's not good. That's going to hurt his podium chances. That's allowed, with these two fighting, that's allowed Jordan to close up on the fight as well. Surely, a lot of these guys will think about pitting soon. Because what is the pit lane loss around here? I could look it up, actually. Deck comes into the pits. Bazza stays out in the lead with Jordan in second. So we'll watch these two. So, actually, no, let's not watch these two. So we want to find out where Lewis, Scottish Goat, and Deck come out. Deck's on softs, interesting. I think they're still going to come out ahead of Dan, I think. So Deck's got to have the... not Deck. Dan has got to have the fast lap of this lap. I think it's going to be close. No, Lewis and Scottish Goat are ahead. But what about Deck? Deck's ahead. Okay. So there we go. As Jordan gets past Bazza in towards the first section. Quite close on the gearbox for Bazza. What can he do then? Both ERT teammates fighting for position. I don't think Bazza's going to use any ERS here. Nope, he's not. So the only two people that have not pitted are these two. But they are going to give it their good go and have a little bit of a fight anyway. Bazza the only one, of course, to get a time penalty. So he's going to drop way down the order anyway. As, oh, look at Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson past Gamer James. Chris Johnson saying the fastest first sector out of anybody so far. So Chris Johnson doing very well. So Bazza the only one that has not pitted, but he is pitting now. Mediums. I thought he would have gone on to soft personally, but he thought mediums will be better, which is fair enough. We could have the championship decided by the stewards here. I'm looking at the chat right now. Let's just hope it doesn't happen. We do not want to end on a bad note. We do not here. Here comes Bazza, by the way. I think he just comes out just behind Dan. Yep, he does. And with the undercut, that's allowed Deck to definitely be on course with fighting for a podium. And so the gap now between Jordan and Lewis, 40.2 seconds. But yeah, Jordan will be pitting, I think, within the next lap or so. I think Lewis Craig could win 2 races in a row here, which I think will be incredible. Absolutely incredible. Jordan comes into the pit, so yeah, Lewis will now become your race leader. As we start lap 12 of 15. As it stands, Wade will be your Season 5 champion, because Dan will need to win the race. And no offence, I think the gap's a bit too big for Dan to close in and take the win. And with Lewis pulling up such a big gap to Scottish Go, I don't think that's going to happen. It's going to be quite close between Dan and Jordan, though. Jordan's gone on softs. Oh! Bit of a love tap between these two. Dan goes around the outside. Dan, unfortunately, gets passed by both Jordan and Bazza on the fresher rubber. Of course, Bazza having a time penalty, of course. As Deck past Scottish Goat as well. There's so much battling happening in the Spaceman corner. And we saw Bazza and Jordan fighting the last lap. We're seeing them fight this lap as well. ERT teammates that get on well, but they want to beat each other on track. Jordan passed Bazza up to 4th. And Scottish Goat passes Deck here. This is a fight for 2nd place. They can't afford to make any contact here because this could have huge repercussions in terms of where you are in the championship. Deck and Jordan are both fighting for 3rd in the Drivers' Championship. So these two can't afford to make any mistakes right now. Jordan getting the... Jordan getting the fastest final sector. Who's got the fastest lap so far? Fastest lap so far belongs to Lewis. But Deck's not that far behind. He's got to nail these next few laps, though, in order to do so. Bazza with the medium rubber, not able to catch up yet. But you never know with these other drivers struggling with tyre grip. Anything could happen. Deck and Scottish Goat, here comes Deck. Through, that's a rubbish camera, but do I care? No. Let me go on board, actually. So, Jordan, past Scottish Goat too. Is he going to get past Deck? This could be crucial for third place. Round the outside they go. Goes Jordan. Deck cuts off to defend. And could we see a double overtake for Scottish Goat? The answer to that is no. But could we see an overtake on Deck here? Could we see a switch back? Oh. I can't, honestly, I could not take this fight. I can't stop watching this fight, I mean. This is incredible. The final race always offers twists and turns. Jordan set the fastest lap of the race, the guy that you can see on your screen, with a, was it a 126.3, I think it was. Yeah, 126.3. 3 more laps to go. Dan's got to make up 6 places, which I think, no offence, is going to be, I think, really hard to do, unfortunately. But I think Scottish Goat's going to fight once again with Deck. Scottish Goat to the left. I can't remember who has a DRS here, but Scottish Goat tucks behind Deck to get the DRS here. They go side by side once more. If they fight too much, that's going to allow Bazza in. And we know how Bazza likes to attack. He attacks well. This is a great race between all 5 of them. Chris Johnson passes James up to 7th. Cuts through. Of course, James doing very well this season to score the amount of points that he has. So this is honestly very, very impressive. Two more laps to go of this race. Lewis leads. The battle that you can see right now on your screen is between these two. But Bazza's fought back on Deck because his tide is gone. James has got a 3-second time penalty, which will be added to the end of his race as well. So he will drop. Actually, no, I don't think he'll drop any place because Tony has also got a time penalty. But we got Scottish Goat and Jordan fighting, and Bazza and Deck fighting. Who we're going to keep an eye on, it's hard to tell, but Bazza goes through corner 1. But with Deck getting the DRS, it's going to be a repeat of what we saw before they made their pit stops. Jordan going to try and do exactly the same, but I don't think he's going to do that. Deck not getting past either, but he's right closing up on Bazza. Oh, I'm loving this. This is, honestly, this is amazing stuff. I hope these drivers could just keep it up with the race pace that they have. Incredible. So we are about to start the final lap of this race, and Lewis Craig could win 2 wins out of 2, which can be insane. Insane if he does that. But we could have a fight for P2 on our hands. We could have a fight for P3 on the road. Bazza, I think, will drop to... What was that camera? That camera was pointing to very weird things, so that's why I would go on board anyway. So that's fine. So I think the battle we're going to see really is between the second and third, but I wonder if Jordan's tyres have dropped a little bit. I think it has. I think it has. That's actually, no, he hasn't. Okay, so he's going to do all he can to try and close in. Scottish Goat hardly has any ERS. Jordan goes round the outside and he takes the second place. Could this be the move that he's looking for to get P3 in the championship? Who knows? Lewis Craig has drove faultless all evening. Great stuff. And he comes across the line and he's going to take the final win of Season 5. And he is one of the drivers to beat for Season 6. So watch out. It's going to be a run across the line between Jordan and Scottish Goat. Bazza will drop down to 5th due to his penalty. And with Dan crossing the line in 6th place, this is official now. I can confirm that Czech Race will be your Dive Bomb F1 Season 5 champion. And I do believe I will need to double check the thingy. I think it is Williams that won the Constructors, but I will double check that. And I don't want the adverts, but yeah, Dan needed to win tonight, but he didn't. So despite Waze being disqualified, Waze is still your champion. And by 6 points, Haas are your Constructors champions, I believe. But that was before the race just now. But I think Haas will. I think with Jordan's pace today, I think Haas will be your Constructors champions, if I'm not too mistaken. So well done, Haas there. So your order then: Lewis from Jordan, Scottish Goat, Bazza in 5th. He will be happy with that. Dan in 6th. Chris Johnson, James, Tony, and then Kai. Your retirements are Darky, Jack Craig, Ryan Berry, and of course Wade's getting disqualified, and it will seem to be quite a bit of beef between Ryan Berry and Wade. And I do honestly hope that we don't get any Sures reports. I do not hope we get. I just hope we don't get any Sures reports to round up the season. I just want clean, like, no Sures reports, because we want to end on a high. We want to end on a high, really. But honestly, I think Wade's only had one race win and he still win the championship, which I have to say is quite incredible stuff. But it is great. It is great stuff. Will he be able to take on to next season? We'll have to wait and see. He is, honestly, he's got tough competition with obviously Lewis Craig. He's got CJ. He's got the 2 guys in the Saubers next season. Those 4 drivers, I think, will definitely, be the ones that could challenge Waze for the title next season. Waze has got obviously a lot of work to do in order to do that. But yeah, interesting. So, we are now going to end this on a high because we have got some awards to give out. Of course, all you drivers have been voting for certain awards, and I think admins have given 2 or 3 awards, I think. Let me just see what images I've got. Yeah. Wait a minute. Yeah, 2, yeah, the admin has given 2 awards. So, I can't remember if Jack was going to go in the call or not, but I don't know. I will need to go soon anyway, so I will reveal if I could have permission to, that is. So, the first award was the driver of the season, as voted by the drivers. So, the Dive Bomb F1's driver of my words are getting absolutely crazy here tonight. So your Dive Bomb F1's driver of the season, with a bit of a tongue twister here this evening, is, drum roll please. I like drum rolls. You know I like drum rolls. And I should stop talking too much. But anyway, the winner for that is, deservedly, ERT Jordan. Got the driver's vote, and after his brilliant results over the last few races, you couldn't blame him. So the drivers have voted Jordan as their driver of the season. Now we move on to our next award, which is Dive Bomb F1's One-Off Performance Award. And the winner for that is, drum roll, Darky, for getting 2 wins in a week, which I can't remember when that was. I'm trying to remember when that was. Let me get his stats. wait, race history, there we go. It was Austrian Silverstone. Yes, it was Austrian Silverstone. So, well done to him. I don't think that many people watching the stream, to be honest. But yeah, well done to him anyway. And the most improved driver was another award that got voted by the drivers. And the winner for that is someone who only started league racing on this game. He's come a long way, and I have to say, I totally agree with this decision. It could have been one or two, I think, but I'm glad it's gone to this person. So the winner of the most improved driver, as voted for by the drivers, is Gamer James. Well done, James. Congratulations. And I have to say, I agree with the drivers on that one. Well done. Congratulations. So now we move on to the two drivers, the two awards as decided for by the admins. And please note, this was decided before tonight's races. So we will start with the Dive Bomb F1's admin driver of the season. And of course, it could have gone to it could only have gone to one driver. Of course, your champion, Waze. So well done to him. The admins have decided that he is your driver of the season for the admin side of things. So now we move on to the final awards that the admins have given. And the admins have titled that award Best Win of the Season. Now, in my opinion, it was down to two, in my opinion. Luckily, they've gone for one of the wins that I enjoyed this season. But according to the admins, the Dive Bomb Best Win of the Season goes to, drumroll please, it goes to Bazet for winning in Spain. And I have to say, I definitely agree with that. That was some really great fight between himself, Derek, and Chris Johnson. So, honestly, well done. Those are your awards. Of course, I think Jack will post it in the Twitter chat as well. But I thought I would reveal it in the chat on the stream as well. So there you go. So massive congratulations to all the award winners. I don't know what they get. Do they get anything? I don't know. But there we go. So I would like to say a big thank you to everybody that has been watching throughout the season, whether you've been watching live or post-event. If it's your first time watching Dive Bomb F1, thank you so much for watching. We've had probably the most views we've seen on the channel, which I have to say is quite incredible. The most streamed race, the most views was the first two races. And then Spain and Canada had the most views as well after that. So, yeah, honestly, it's been great to cover majority of the season. Of course, I had to miss, I think, rounds 5, 6, 7, and 8 because I was at... rounds 3, 4, 5, and 6, sorry, because I was away for 1 week at work and then another week at Formula Student. But I would like to say thank you to everyone that's watching. Thank you to all the drivers that are racing, especially the ones who turn up even with low turnout, that turn up pretty much every week. We do appreciate it. Of course, we'd like to thank you very much to Jack Cray for organising everything, for sorting out the standings, creating the graphics as well, doing all the social posts, making sure that the tier is in good standing as well. We would like to thank the stewards. I do not know who the stewards are. I don't think I'm allowed to say, but thank you very much to the stewards for all your help. And of course, thank you to Jack and Bazza, both of you, for hosting the lobbies each week. I think they both did a fair share of the load, so thank you very much to both of you. And of course, thank you, Jack, for letting me commentate this season. It has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it.
Of course, I wasn't allowed to race this season because I was too quick, because I won a championship. Who knew? But yeah, I wanted to get involved somehow, and the commentary box was, I think, a good replacement instead of me racing. So thank you very much to Jack for letting me commentate. Of course, he is going to be, we're going to be swapping roles next season. So instead of myself in the commentary box, you'll hear Jack's Scottish tones. So I'm sure he'll do a massive job. I've kept his seat nice and warm there, and I will be racing back in the Red Bull next season, which I'm honestly very excited about. I'm going to be so rusty, I can tell you that, compared to everybody else, because they're used to short races. I'm not, so it'll probably take me a while to get up to speed, which is probably why I'm not going to be bothered fighting for the championship next season. But there we go. So those were my thank yous. Thank you so much for watching. You won't have long to wait before season 6. We will see you on the 24th of September for round 1 and 2, which will be at Kota and Belgium. It'll be the 25% race first, and then the 35% race after that. So I've been Jess Ball. You won't hear my voice next time out. You'll hear Jack's voice in about a couple of weeks' time for Kota and Belgium. Take care, everyone. It's been a pleasure commentating for you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.